Hi, everyone. So today I'm joined by Rieko Yamanaka, who's a life coach. And I met her during my own personal journey while looking for answers to some life big questions, like who am I and why am I here? And I actually got a little bit of a description from Rieko's site, which I wanted to share with you before she introduces herself. So Rieko's coaching has been life challenging, described as life challenging by her clients. She's born in New York, in Tokyo and raised in New York, and has been exploring spirituality, personal growth, and body movement since 1990s. And prior to her getting into spirituality, she worked as a designer for Fortune 500 companies, tech startups, and small businesses around the world. She's a multi-passionate creative, also translator, translates Japanese and English, uplifting Japanese books to the global audience. So in our conversation today, we're going to be diving into a topic that is very close to my heart. That's all I want to talk about and understand more and learn about. And I believe it's incredibly relevant to everybody living on this planet nowadays. So we're going to be talking about emotions. And the reason why this matters so much is because our emotions, they sit at the core of everything. They drive our decisions, our actions, our behavior, and ultimately the result, and also how we live our lives. And if we do not learn how to understand how to work with them, our emotions will literally run and also ruin our lives, holding us back from the very things that we desire the most, keeping us stuck in overwhelm and a life where we settle for less than we deserve. So saying that, I'm super excited to be speaking with Rieko today, and welcome. Rieko, can you just take a minute to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your journey that led you to becoming a life coach?
Oh, thank you so much, Lena, for having me and introducing me. My name is Rieko. I am a life coach, and my journey really started. Well, my spiritual journey started when I was a teenager, but when I, what brought me to this work in earnest was a sense of unhappiness and unfulfillment that I was experiencing while I was working as a designer in these really amazing workplaces that had everything, right? And just something in my heart was calling me like there's something more here. I don't know why I'm unhappy. I have everything I need. I have everything I wanted. And that led to multiple multiple chronic sense of unease with life, chronic pain, anxiety, depression, an eating disorder. So there was a lot of time, a period of time when I was just so disconnected from my feelings, my purpose, what I even really wanted in life. And it was not until it was basically a physical body health crisis that kind of brought me down on my knees. And that's when I decided that I need to make a change. And I started to study A Course in Miracles and other modalities and spiritual teachings that helped me begin to release all the grievances I was holding on to and all the ways I was judging and attacking myself, and to start developing self compassion and self love. And that work really, really changed my life. And I'm so profoundly grateful that I can honestly say today that I'm living in harmony with myself and that I can hold myself in compassion no matter what I'm feeling or what I'm experiencing. And what Lena just spoke to about emotions is that so many of us were never taught what to do with them. And we are all feeling beings. Emotions are energy in motion. And we are energetic electromagnetic beings. Our bodies look solid, but what are they made of? They're made of cells. Cells are made of atoms. And when you look closely, atoms are 99% empty space. And so we're fluid, dynamic beings that are constantly feeling and processing inside and outside. So changing our relationship with our emotions is so key to experiencing a sense of fulfillment and happiness in our lives, and also to grow into the fullest expression of who each of us can be. Because when we are not in resistance with whatever we're feeling in the moment, then we can let it move much more quickly. The negative emotions don't get trapped and suppressed in our bodies and start crying out for love. So when we suppress our emotions, they eventually have to move because emotions are energy and energy wants to move. And so if we are constantly suppressing anger, let's say, anger might call to you in a sudden, unexpected, angry outburst that just in reaction to something someone said that leaves you surprised that like, what was that? Why did I say that? Like, what was that explosion of anger that just came out of me? And then you might just judge that and beat yourself up about it. But really, it was that there was an anger that you've been judging and suppressing this whole time that was asking to be released. But because it did not have any other opportunities, it came out in that unexpected way. But if we have an awareness of whatever anger or fear that we're feeling in our bodies, and just let it be okay that that's there, that it's a sensation in the body that we're experiencing. And if we can breathe, it can move, then you are not, like Lena was saying, you're not being ruled by it. You're not letting that drive your life. You can make conscious choices because you are in harmony with what's in you and you're letting it move. And it's not governing you, you are governing it. You get to make a conscious choice regardless of what you're feeling, what you want to do next. So that was a very long, I just kind of went on a tangent, Lena, but
No, it was a great introduction,
yeah.
how we are taught, or we're not even taught anything about emotions, are we? We basically, I don't know about you, but me, like growing up in Soviet Russia, it was like, you've got to be strong. You're not allowed to cry. Or if you cry, I'll give you something else to cry about. You've got to like suppress or numb it. And another thing is like, when let's say maybe your grandparents or your parents, when they get too stressed because you misbehave or you've done something that they didn't want you to do, then they hold you accountable and responsible for how they feel. So we basically start thinking that our emotions are not valid, that it's not okay to express them, it's not okay to be angry, it's not okay to be fearful, it's not okay to cry, and we suppress, suppress, suppress. And like what you just said, emotion is energy in motion. So what happens with an energy? It becomes stagnant, it becomes literally inside our bodies. And we are living our lives with this murky, yucky, gray energy that is so deeply within us. And as soon as somebody says or does something that we don't like, that triggers us in any way, we then explode because that energy's got to go somewhere. And then we hold them responsible for how we feel. But actually, that is like all it's doing is actually creating more of that stagnant energy. And it's like that loop is just like never ends, and the more we hold others accountable for how we feel, the crappier we feel, and then it just carries on over and over, and we live our entire lives controlled by our emotions. So that's why I'm like super glad that we're having this conversation, to help people to break out of that reactivity. Like when they feel triggered by anger, to understand that it's not that person who's making them angry, it's the thing that's been within them already, and all they're doing are just triggering it. So can you speak more a little bit, how you said when you were in a kind of corporate career, how you felt such disconnected and depression, because I went through very similar, and how it's different now, and actually what really helped you, to feel more peace and fulfillment in your everyday life.
Yeah, basically, I took ownership, like you said, took responsibility for everything that I was thinking and feeling. And instead of waiting for my job situation, my workplace to change,
Mhm.
or my life situation to change, my relationships to change, to look at what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and what judgments I was having about other people and myself, day in and day out. And I realized that for me, there was a role, a persona that I thought I was supposed to play in order to fit in to this corporate culture, to the New York City scene. I also have a dance background prior to that, and when I was a dancer, like what it's like to fit into the entertainment performing arts world. And in trying to do so, I suppressed so much of my own authentic feelings and truth, like speaking my truth, speaking how I was really feeling, what I was really thinking, because I thought it wasn't safe to express that. And that was at the root of all the anxiety and depression and the chronic sense of unhappiness that I was carrying. And even though I was very functional in the workplace, there it would start to kind of leak out. The negativity will start to leak out, and I would catch myself gossiping with my coworkers or complaining about something that happened at work, at home, or there will be signs of that's one of the signs that something is asked to be seen and released when we start to complain, gossip, to offload it
Right.
from us so that we think it's the other people that's the problem and not us, right? But to realize, have an awareness around that, oh, I'm doing that, and then to make a different choice. And so it was basically doing that over and over and over and over again, day
Yeah.
in and day out. Yeah.
So, what do you think are the benefits? Because you mentioned taking responsibility for your emotions, and I talk a lot about it, accountability. And coming from a corporate background of 15 years, I don't see that a lot of happening. And nor did I, right? Like if you have a fight with someone or you're falling out with a colleague or whatever, it's like they're toxic, they're doing something wrong, they're mistreating me, they whatever. And obviously, through this work, through this journey of self-discovery, I began to understand why it's so important to take accountability for your emotions. So I'm just curious to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. So I love this because that's at the root, that's at the basis of nonviolent communication, isn't it? To take ownership and make it about what you are feeling, what the situation is bringing up in you. So I can see, for example, and I did not have these tools back then, but if I were to go back in time and do things over, there would be, for example, let's say I was having a annual review with my manager, and let's say something that my manager said a month ago triggered insecurity and sadness and a little bit of anger in me. In normal languages, right? In common languages, I might describe it as, well, when you said this, you made me feel disrespected or that I wasn't working hard enough. And the phrase you made me feel is already speaking to I think this is your
Bingo.
fault
You're
that I'm
basically
feeling
giving your
this
power
way.
to your manager, like the manager has
Exactly,
power to make you feel
exactly.
whatever they want to make you feel. So you're the victim.
Exactly. I'm the victim. It's your fault. I'm feeling this way and I want you to do something about it, right? That's the common
Yeah.
way that we would approach because we didn't know any better. But if I were to approach the same situation today, I would breathe and first remember that everyone is feeling beings. We're human beings are feeling beings, and everybody has feelings. Everybody has their own perspective, and whatever anyone says has no power over you or how you
Unless you
feel
choose it to be, unless you choose
unless
to give
you
it.
unless you give it that power. So from that place I can go back to my manager and say, when you said this, I it triggered this in me, this sense of insecurity in me, and this is how I'm feeling in the moment. This is what I'm feeling in the moment, and that's it. Like I'm not expecting anything from my manager. I'm not expecting them to say I'm sorry. I'm not expecting them to do anything about it. It's just me expressing to themselves with compassion and calmness and responsibility for myself of this is what I'm feeling. And when I'm in that place of total acceptance and peace about what I'm feeling and taking ownership, that this is not their fault, but I do want to bring it up that this interaction resulted in me feeling this emotion right now, then they can respond from a place of, they can also respond from a place of more spaciousness and compassion because they will not feel attacked, right? That I'm not saying to them, "How dare you say that to me? Like that was so disrespectful." Like, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you said this, this is what I felt,
Yeah, so you're
and
more sharing rather than accusing. You're like in
exactly.
space for that conversation to go rather than kind of controlling so that your ego can be satisfied.
Yes, and if I were the manager, then I might also respond with, "Oh, you know, okay, you sharing that with me now is now bringing up this in me, and I'm feeling this right now. I'm feeling guilt arising. I'm feeling a little bit of anger
That
arising."
requires a lot of self-awareness on management
Right?
staff,
Yeah. If the
right?
manager has
Has that
self-awareness,
awareness, yeah.
that kind of conversation could even be possible. The thing is, when we take ownership of our own emotions, then we can also have respect and honor other people's emotions. They're also free to feel whatever they're
Whatever they want to
feeling.
feel.
Yeah, and it's nothing about you. It's not about you at all. So it's just about honoring what's here. And
So basically, this emotional independence, I would call it emotional dependence, right? Because what you're saying is basically stepping into a place where your emotional state is independence on what others think, how they behave, and how they act towards you. So when you have an emotional independence, you approach any situation from a place of power. It's like, I know who I am. I know I'm whole and complete and I'm worthy and I'm valuable regardless, what others may think of me. And yeah, maybe I've made some mistake. Yes, maybe my performance wasn't as great as it could be, but I can react then in two ways. I can either take it as a feedback and learn and grow from it, or obviously I can just react and carry on this victimhood mentality. Right. So I mean, that gives you the freedom then, doesn't it? When you own your emotions, instead of like holding everybody else accountable for how you feel. And we know wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. So all you're doing is fragmenting your energy everywhere. You bring it back to me and you say, I'm the one who's in charge. I choose how I feel. I choose how I show up and how to hold this conversation. That's a more powerful way to live in, isn't it?
yes, absolutely. It's power, it's authenticity, it's freedom. And gosh, so we talked earlier about before our call, Lena, about Dr. Kim Duramo, who I'm studying with now, who is a mind-body medicine expert, and her background is an ER doctor and an osteopath, and she's talking about how all chronic illnesses that is like a very widespread challenge in our modern day society has an emotional component underneath it, which means when these energies that you were talking about, like the muck, the gray muck, that
Okay,
when
almost see it.
if we suppress it, it gets stuck in our bodies because it has nowhere to go, but it has to move, so it's going to express as something, and that can be all sorts of symptoms, whether it's pain or something showing up on the skin or digestion or whatever it is. It's the suppressed emotional, negative emotional energy that can literally will show up in our bodies to get our attention, to let us know that you've been suppressing something, you've been hiding something, you've been not feeling safe to express what you're authentically feeling. It's time to pay attention. It's time to honor what you're feeling and thinking. It's time to honor who you are, basically.
Yeah,
And
because
yeah.
sorry, carry on. I just
Yeah,
wanted.
I also wanted to emphasize also that one of the things I love that Dr. Kim says is that it's not the negative emotions in and of itself that causes disease. It's our resistance to it. It's the suppressing. It's pushing it down because all energy is negative or positive, is just energy. And it could just move through if we don't have resistance, if we just let it be. Oh, anger is here. Totally fine. Shame is here. Guilt is here. No problem. I can just give it space and let it move through me. Then the emotion can move through you in like several seconds.
Can you just talk more about what you mean? Because maybe not everybody understand what it means
Yeah.
moving through you. Because obviously, like for me, I've shared with you, the big emotion was fear. Sometimes I don't even know, it's like completely irrational. It's something, all this traumas, everything has been coming up when, I'm processing all of that. And it gets super uncomfortable to sit with that emotion, right? Sometimes even painful because it's energy. And I found myself sometimes like I would like my body would almost be like burning. Like I can feel the burn around my neck, around my chest. And all I want to do is like to quickly get out of it. Maybe, I don't know, try and fix some events or maybe like reach out to a certain person, whatever it is, just not to feel that discomfort. And I'm sure a lot of people have the same problem. When anger comes up, they just want to shout at someone rather than sit with them. So like talk, explain more. What does that actually mean? How can you like really allow emotions to move through you? What does it look like?
Yes. So what it looks like is breathing. It's so disarmingly simple,
Mm.
but it's literally respiration and taking in oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. I mean, there's more happening energetically, but that's the gist of it. So all emotions are physical sensations in your body. We might label it as anger, we might label it as sadness or happiness, joy, but what we're actually feeling, like you're experiencing, you were describing burning sensations.
Mm.
It's literally just purely physical sensations that we're feeling in our body. And if you do this long enough, you'll realize that there's no physical sensations that stay constant all the time,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Because that's the energy moving, that's the emotion moving. So when I say let it move, all I mean is to, instead of reaching out for, I don't know, a tub of ice cream
glass of
or
wine, that's
turning on
it.
TV or looking up Instagram on your phone, turning on the TV, and trying to distract yourself, to ignore it, to suppress it, to just allow yourself to feel the uncomfortable sensations. And what's going to help you do that is to take deeper, slower, fuller breaths.
Mm.
Instead of breathing in your chest, like the stress breathing when we're stressed out, the we breathe more higher up in their chest and our breath gets really shallow. But to consciously soften your shoulders and to breathe as lower in your belly as you can towards your pelvis, towards your pelvic floor. And that automatically turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system. And that puts you in a place of more peace and harmony. And it'll make it easier for you to stay present with that uncomfortable sensation, whatever it is. And another thing that really helps is to not go into your mind, your head about the emotion, trying to make up stories about what this means, trying to figure out why it's here, and making a meaning out of what that means about you,
Yeah,
and
that's
saying
that's the
that
hard part, right?
that's the
Because
hard part. That's
mind
the
just
hard part.
automatically. But then when we do that, we literally get stuck in the thinking and feeling loop. Like one amplifies the other, and it's really hard to break out of it. And by the time we're broken out of it, we're completely depleted, right? I mean, it takes so much energy to do that. While
Yes.
breath, it's completely free. We all have it. We just don't use it properly. And I know, I mean, I can attest to it. Breath work has been like life-changing for me when I remember to do that.
Yes, me too. That's remembering to do that is the hardest part, right? But no problem. We just catch ourselves. Oh, I'm not breathing. I was literally just not breathing. Okay, whoo, exhale out and just let the breath come in again.
Mm.
And the mind just does not like to breathe. It just thinks it's so
Yeah.
boring and it's like
Yeah.
not, there's no power in breath. It's just like everybody breathes. So why should I even do that consciously? No, but breath is so powerful. Something like 90% of our toxins get moves out of our body through our breath.
Wow.
It is breathing is such power and it's so simple and anyone can do it and does not cost a thing.
Yeah, so basically when you find yourself triggered, let's say you like in a meeting, or maybe you like talking to your boss, or maybe you receive this email that makes you feel angry, instead of going and responding to the email or just, reacting to your colleague, you just take a breath and then you just breathe slowly, right? For like what, like a few
Exactly.
times, like a few minutes, and you go slow in and slow out, yeah?
Yeah, I think 3 to 5 deep, slow breaths can be enough to begin shifting your physiology into that relaxation mode so you can think more clearly and make conscious choices.
Yeah, because then it creates
And
a
yeah,
gap, isn't it, between that reaction. So we can, instead of reacting, we actually have the space for us to consciously respond. Because how many times we allowed our temporary emotions to make permanent decisions and then take actions we later regret. So through the breath, you like create that gap, um and then you can basically respond with more intention.
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
yes.
want to make just our workplaces, organizations like a much better culture to be in when we learn how to do that rather than reacting, calling this person narcissist, calling this environment toxic. Well, let it be for a minute, narcissist, let it be toxic, focus on you. Because if every single person took accountability for their emotions and ultimately then the actions, the decisions, etc., we'll be living in a very different world.
Absolutely,
Very much
Luna. I
different.
can't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just got a actually quick question for you. So how obviously, this emotional intelligence, because that's in essence what we're talking, ability to manage your emotions, how does it directly impact your personal or even professional success? How does it help you to thrive in your career, to maybe get a promotion, to climb up in ranks? Because, a lot of people, myself included in the past, that's all I wanted to do. So how can emotional intelligence can help us to achieve more career success?
Yes, it has everything to do with success, I will say. And I had no clue that was the case back when 10 years ago, I had no idea. And why is that? It's because when you're in harmony with your emotions and you have no problem letting anger come up, anxiety come up, you are not fighting yourself. You are loving and accepting yourself exactly as you are. And that leads to what? Higher self esteem, self confidence. The way you show up changes completely. You are in a very different energy than the person who is feeling insecure inside and trying to put up the facade of a confident person, right? Confidence really can only come from within, and practicing this emotional freedom, being at harmony with what you're feeling, really just organically teaches you to be present, which translates to confidence, which translates to you listening more clearly and deeply to what others are saying. So that leads to better communication. And that it also leads you to honoring other people's feelings exactly as they are as well. And then when you don't come at other people when they're having a hard time from a place of defensiveness or attack, even if they can't articulate it, they will feel that, right? Like when we are next to or in proximity to someone who's having a bad day, we can feel it. And we can, by the same token, we can feel when someone is in harmony in that peaceful state with whatever is arising in them. So that means people would love you. People would love being around you. They would enjoy working with you and want to do more of that. So,
And it's
and
contagious, right? Because when you come, because like we said, emotion is energy in motion. So when you can regulate your emotions, when you stay calm, even when there's like a chaos around you, people will see it because your energy speaks louder than your words. So when the more positive emotions you cultivate, the higher energy you radiate. And energy, that's what pulls people in or it repels them. So people will naturally gravitate to you. They will want to know what drugs you're on. Like, why is it that you can maintain this composure when everybody else is freaking out? What is it about you? It's a magnetism that, you begin to kind of radiate. It's like pulls not just people, but the right opportunities, the right conversations. And it's like you become like almost like a magnet, for just things that you possibly never could have imagined. But it all starts with your emotions, and we just don't value that enough.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's like, just like a final question, what maybe one or two powerful practices can you share that somebody, who really wants to master their emotions, who maybe is tired of people pleasing, tired of feeling unworthy or stress, anxiety, overwhelm, all of these kind of emotions that really weigh us down and take so much of our power away from us? What's one or two things can they start practicing so they can, shift out of it and really step more into their power and create life where they can live being true to themselves?
Yeah, so yes, I have suggestions. The first thing I would say before I introduce the actual practices is to remember that you are allowed to think and feel anything, whatever. There's no bad feelings.
Yeah.
You can feel whatever is here, and just remembering that, and that you are meant to feel. It's not possible for you to not feel. So knowing, just taking judgment out of emotions, period, will is a great starting place to start this journey, I would say. And the first practice that comes to mind is just practicing body awareness. And what I mean by that is to, instead of being in your head and thinking, spinning thoughts, to notice where your body is in space. So the easiest place for us to start is often where our feet are, the soles of our feet. Just feeling the soles of the feet on the floor. Where are my feet right now? And just notice what it feels like to know where your feet are. The sensation of your maybe your socks and shoes underneath the soles of your feet, the floor beneath you supporting your weight. If you're sitting in a chair, it could be the chair supporting your pelvis and your weight there. And just shifting your awareness to your body throughout the day when you have a moment of awareness will is enough to help you start to develop that body awareness, which translates to you being aware of your emotions, because again, emotions are physical sensations in your body. So body awareness is the first thing I would say, and the second one we already talked about is the breath. So practicing breathing as slowly and as deeply and fully lower in your belly as you can, softening your shoulders. And whenever you feel triggered, whenever you catch yourself feeling, basically feeling any sort of discomfort, to just let yourself breathe. And 3 to 5 breaths is enough to start shifting and moving whatever is that it is that you're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, and I would just also like to add, just don't wait for a massive trigger. Start practicing with something small. So you're like sitting in traffic and you're feeling frustrated because of the traffic. Practice that, like where in the body am I feeling frustration, right? And like connect that part of you and maybe just take a few breaths into it. And even that, you begin like to feel that tension dissolve. So it's all, I guess, moving from a sympathetic nervous system into parasympathetic, right? From the fight and flight into more like rest and digest. Yeah, that's super powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. And, bathroom breaks are helpful punctuations throughout the day to kind of just remember, oh, I'm going to the bathroom. Okay, breathe. Like maybe many people don't really want to take a deep breath in the bathroom per se, but you could do the deep breaths before you go into the bathroom or after, right? Because having those breaks, associating those breaks with this practice is a great way to start doing more of it throughout the day, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, I found really powerful is the first thing in the morning, instead of reaching for the phones, turning social media on, looking at the emails, what I need to do, even just spend 3 minutes consciously breathing. You can put like a nice relaxing music on YouTube, there's tons, and just breathe. And while you're breathing, you can even create your day intentionally. Like, how would I love my day to unfold? Because we know already wherever the attention goes, energy flows, and energy is what creates our lives. And our days are going to unfold regardless. They can unfold in autopilot, copy and paste of the past, or we can create something new. And the way we do that is with our consciousness, with our awareness. And I just found when you do it with breath, it becomes even extra powerful. And doesn't need to take hours. It can literally just be 3 minutes. Breathe, imagine yourself having the most amazing day, and then you can just go back to your daily life. So yeah. So
Yes, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, you know, I heard once someone says that your life purpose comes from your biggest trauma. And I think it is so true because my biggest trauma, my biggest challenge have always been managing my emotions. It's just, I've always been a very reactive person. So, and now this is what I'm so passionate about, and this is what, you know, I literally do, and I love talking about it. So, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your wisdom with all of us. And before we wrap it up, is there anything else you want to add? Anything, you know, you want to share with people who are listening?
Yeah, I can't, I've said it multiple times in this conversation, but if there's one takeaway, just breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe. And this is not so maybe the word emotional intelligence has a ring of, something that we have to master or we have to increase, that we have to kind of aspire to. But it really is just you freeing yourself from any judgment towards whatever it is that you're feeling in your body. That's all it is. So this is not rocket science. We like things that are complicated and takes an effort to master, but really all it is just all right, allowing ourselves to breathe and move through life, move through the feelings, move through the emotions with ease instead of contracting and pushing it away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm just going to add one last thing before you wrap up, and having compassion for yourself.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
judging if that anger comes up or if that fear comes up, breathe and know it's meant to be coming up. It's all good. It's all happening for you, not to you. Because whatever you resist will persist. And I speak from personal experience. So accept it, honor it, breathe and feel it. And then next time it's not gonna attack you as much anymore, you know? And then you find the true freedom where the circumstances that have triggered you so much in the past have no power over you anymore. And that's what true freedom is about.
Yes, 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me on this little chat about our emotions. I'm going to share all your details underneath the video. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, then they can reach out to you. And thank you everybody for listening. Bye for now.
Thank you.